just waiting for the start. Everybody seems to be in their appropriate place. Faribault will kick it into the Century end, and we're underway. As the ball gets kicked toward midfield, nice pass in that center circle at midfield, almost stolen away there by the Faribault Falcons as Sydney Bauer did a nice job. A lot of these names you'll hear were basketball players and other athletes too, volleyball. As Century's ahead of the pack now, going in toward the net. They're getting very close, and there's a goal smack dab in the back left corner by Rochester Century just that quickly. Boy, she just got out in front of the pack and nobody was going to catch her. 34-29 to go. It's already 1-0 Rochester Century. Goal was scored by Lauren Murphy, a senior, for Century, and they're on the board very quickly, like seconds into the game. As the ball gets brought back in, Century again ahead of the pack, going to that same side, only it's kicked through the uprights of the football goalposts. Yeah, a little over anxious on that one. Taking the shot for the Rochester Century Panthers was McKenna Baker, sophomore attacker. So Faribault bring it out of their zone here. Ball's kicked ahead. It's intercepted by Rochester Century. They shoot toward the goal, and there's another goal. That was a nice pass. And really caught Cruz Grande in a helpless situation, to be quite honest. 38-40 to go. So they scored less than a minute after the previous goal. Rochester Century, who won 2-1 over, now they kick it ahead of the pack, and it's going to be an offside here. Yeah, they don't allow that, because if they did, you'd have all kinds of scoring in soccer. You know, if somebody could get way ahead of the... So Faribault will kick it back, and hopefully they can have a little more activity in the Century end of the field. Pass ahead. As Faribault's been on the defensive this entire game so far. Kick ahead by the Faribault Falcons, and it's taken away. Depossessed, as Brian would say. Rochester Century in Faribault, and the ball goes out of bounds. Quickly thrown in by Rochester Century, throwing well ahead. And again, they're flying on the attack. Here comes the kick, and it's another goal. This one by Jordan Nowicki. Jordan Nowicki, a sophomore, scores. 37-30. You got to feel bad for the freshman goalkeeper, Daisy Cruz Grande. Been helpless back there as Faribault tries to get on the attack here. Pass ahead near the circle at midfield. It goes to the Falcon logo. Taken there by Addie Clary, a junior. It's booted ahead. There's Century on the attack again, way out in front of everybody else, coming out of the net. The goaltender does a nice job to interfere a little bit with the attempted kick, and now the goal's going to be scored as she had to come out of the net, or felt she did. As Century scores again on a quick goal. My, oh my. 37-01. So they scored 31 seconds into the game. They scored a minute and 20 into the game. They scored 2.5 minutes into the game, and they score about 3 minutes into the game. So in 3 minutes, they score 4 goals. I wonder what the record is. As Faribault now trying to get on the attack, they have not been able to get past maybe the 30-yard mark. Looking at it as a football field, as it's knocked out of bounds by the Rochester Century Panthers, and Faribault will quickly get that inbound and go on the attack. Pass comes in. Was made by Faribault's Alexis Botke. Now trying to get possession of it is Mercedes Huerta Mata at about the score box. It's kicked ahead by Rochester Century. They have nice passes here. Another pass ahead. It's missed by the intended receiver. Oh my, coming flying through the pack. Just outracing everybody. The ball going in, and a nice save. Great save by Daisy Cruz Grande. I mean, that young lady was coming in with nobody in terms of the defender in front of her, so a nice save by Cruz Grande. Put that on your highlight reel. 35:55 to go. 4-0 already, Century. Up the near sideline is the ball. It's kicked ahead. And Faribault is finding Century defenders get behind them. There's a trip, and there's a shot, and another goal. One of the Falcons got knocked down. That's got to be a nice luxury to have. Of course, they're up 5-0. There's Faribault. Kicks it ahead. Rochester Century has possession of the ball. They do a nice job of dribbling the ball up on the grass here at Bruce Smith Field. It's kicked back and forth. They're keeping possession of it. Playing keep away basically from Faribault with that 5-0 lead. Nice move to get around the defender there as Century kicks it toward midfield, and it's picked up by Faribault and booted downfield. About as far as Faribault's been able to get it, over near the box. One of the Century players falls down. They're still battling for it on the far sideline. Nice job there by Mercedes Huerta Mata. Not allow her to get the ball up field. Faribault has possession of it. And then we got a flag here. So Century will inbound it. Must have gone out of bounds. I can't see that side of the field real well, the lines anyway. It's hard to tell when it's in or out. Out now. Now Faribault gets it. Passes it in. Mercedes has it. It's taken away. Booted forward. Intercepted. Century gets it back. Going right to left on your radio dial. Nice job cutting in to pick it off by Malia Hunt. Hunt will try to pass it to her teammate. It's intercepted. Coming back the other way, Rochester Century. They're up 5-0 with 33:42 to go in the first half. Knocking the ball down, kicking it ahead, Faribault. It's knocked forward by Century. Just outside the midfield circle. Now going ahead is Faribault. They'd love to get on the board here, just get a little confidence, right? As Mercedes has it again. Huerta Mata. It's in the scoring box, and now it's knocked away by Rochester Century and out of bounds. Faribault will quickly inbound this. And she completely threw it over the head of the intended recipient, unfortunately. Goes out of bounds. It'll belong to Rochester Century. Just trying to see the number there. It was Peyton Ross who they tried to get the ball into. And she threw it to a 6'4" person, and Page is not 6'4". Goalkeeper passes it ahead. Again, cutting in front. Nice job by Faribault to get the ball. Kicked ahead. Century now comes up with it. Century's passes are more on the feet than Faribault's thus far. Pass ahead by Faribault. Century intercepts. Boots it halfway down the field. Giving chase are the Falcons. Giving chase are the Panthers. And then the Falcon gets back and kicks it out of bounds. Behind her, she had Penelope Gordon, a junior, flying down the field. She thought, best thing to do here would be to kick it out of bounds, but they give Century a chance to set up a play here. Gordon has it. Just by the side of the net, it's kicked forward. Coming out of there with it is going to be Faribault, as Emma Taboda has it. Faribault doing a better job of maintaining positioning. They had so many breakaways, did Century, to score those 5 goals. They get a 5-0 lead, 31-40. I would say 4 of the 5 at least were breakaways. As the goalkeeper comes out, is going to get control of that ball and kick it forward for Century. Going right to left. Intercepted at midfield. Coming up with it for Faribault is Alexis Botke. Now Century has it again at the midfield circle. Coming up to get the ball is Faribault, but Gordon not giving it up. Doing a nice job maintaining control. She'll kick it ahead and try to outrace to the ball Hunt. She kicks it ahead again. She's off the side, is going to try a kick that's caught by Cruz Grande. So another nice save by Cruz Grande, and she'll boot it, punt it up in the air, goes straight up, comes down. Gordon tries to kick it on the fly. Didn't want to wait for it to hit the ground. As inbounding it for Rochester Century's Nora Will. The midfielder will pass it in. It was almost picked off by Ross. Now Gordon has it again. No defender near her, though. She's keeping the booted ahead. She's going to kick for the goal, and it goes wide. Cruz Grande realized it was going to be wide, and so she didn't worry about it as an offside is called. So Faribault will re-enter play here. Down by a 5-0 score with 30-11 to go here in the first half. All the scoring came in the first 3 minutes of the game. I wonder what the record is. That's got to be close to a record, wouldn't you think? 5 goals in 3 minutes. There's a header attempted by Rochester Century. It's picked off, kicked ahead by Faribault. Oh, nice pass. I didn't even see her in the pack. She was hidden by a couple of Century Panthers, she being Mercedes Huerta Mata. Fun to watch on the hoops court as well. Century's dribbling it up and not getting much interference. Now it's going to be kicked out of bounds by Faribault again. Najira Solis, senior defense person, booted it out of bounds. That kind of stops the breakaway, right? As we're under 30 minutes to go here in the first half. Panthers will inbound it across the way. First person that scored a goal tonight inbounds it. That's Lauren Murphy. Kicked ahead. I remember a number of these names from from hockey. Kick goes ahead by Century. Coming out of the net is the goalkeeper for Faribault. She'll just kick it ahead, not very far. Faribault's going to have to go back and track it down. Meanwhile, backpedaling is Century, but we'll be kicking again here on the offside. It's kind of kicked it to an area as Rochester Century gains control. Nice pass ahead again, and she's going to get in front of the pack, but Faribault does a nice job cutting her off that time. Really nice job performed that time by Bergen Williamson. He's a hockey player for the Falcons. There was talk maybe this year of Faribault having to co-op with Northfield or somebody, but nope, they're going to have a girls hockey team this winter. As we're just under 28 minutes to go in the first half, it's 5-0 Century. They had their way in the first 3 minutes. As Daisy Cruz Grande, somebody needs to hand her some sunglasses. She's trying to shield the sun out of her eyes. Is it illegal to wear sunglasses in soccer? Now they think about it, I don't think they wore them on Tuesday either. Steal by Mercedes. But getting it back is Warren Murphy. It's kicked out by the goalkeeper. That time Faribault had somebody back on a possible attack. Had they misplayed it, that was Ross. Kicked way ahead by Rochester Century, and she's way out in front, at least 10 yards. Here comes Gordon coming out of the net. Here's a shot over the goal and through the goalpost, but that's not 3 points for the Rochester Century Panthers. Well, that was a really nice job by Cruz Grande. Now, I know nothing about being a goalkeeper, but I would think that's the thing you need to do, right? She came out, met her, and that forced her to shoot it high, and it went over the net and through the goalposts. As Faribault Falcons up the far sideline, kick it ahead. Century gets possession back as Maria Hansen boots it forward, and now Century going to try and... Well, Faribault's going to have the ball here. 26:35 to go in the half. See if they can get some kind of offense generated. they haven't even really had a shot on the goal. As Huerta Mata boots it forward, Ross comes up. Botke, as Gordon almost turns her ankle on the ball. Here comes a left-handed boot, or left-footed boot. As going back to pick it up for Faribault as Carolyn Sauer gets booted out of bounds. Century will inbound it. Inbounding it for Century is Nora Will. Will pass it in to an open player at the middle portion of their end of the field here. Mercedes Huerta trying to run interference. Pass goes back to the midfield circle. Now they'll get it back into their zone. Rochester Century just kind of playing keep away here right at the moment. 25-38 to go, up by a 5-0 score. Gordon tries to get it. Of course, if you get everybody bunched up in your end, you can maybe get a breakaway. As Century, again, if you had a time of possession on this game, man, Faribault has not had the ball much. They do for an instant now. They kick toward the sideline. It's again kicked ahead. Now an attempted pass to Huerta Mata. Did a nice job to avoid being collided with. She's got the ball. She's going to kick it from way out. That's easily picked up by the goalkeeper, Kate Kopp, for the Rochester Century Panthers. Kopp is a sophomore as well. She kicks it out. Botke tries to get to it. Gordon as well. Hunt and Gordon nearly collide. Left-footed kick is almost intercepted by Faribault. Now Hunt's going to pass it ahead, stepping in front. Century to pick it off. Hunt gets it back. She'll get it, or tried to get it, to Huerta Mata as the ball comes back into the Falcon defensive end. And they'll just track it down, and Century is not going for any attack at the moment with a 5-0 lead. Although at the moment it looks like they're going to try and score. Up the far sideline, Century dribbling the ball up the field. They do a nice job. There's a pickoff, as I say that, by Faribault's Sydney Bauer. It's booted ahead, just past midfield. Another nice play by Mercedes Huerta Mata. She got the ball and got it taken away. Century's going to kick it back toward their goalkeeper. She'll come out of that boxed area. Kick it forward. That's kind of dangerous. Ross was right there. And she tripped or something. Faribault had an easy goal. Little side kick to the right with 23:34 to go here in the first half. Gordy Kosfeld to the KDHL Sports microphone. Tomorrow night we've got Triton, Hayfield, Kenyon, Wanamingo playing Cannon Falls in boys soccer from the Wally Hit Field, I believe it is, Dodge Center. Kick ahead by Faribault, but they weren't in front of the pack. Huerta Mata trying to get control of the ball. She's got Ross to her right. She's going to kick it toward the net. And again, a save for Cruz Grande. Just are not able to get close enough. Century's goals have all been pretty much right there in the box. They bounce it off a Century player at midfield. Pass is not accurate there. Hunt's trying to gain control of it. The much bigger Murphy. And now Gordon trying to gain control, and she kicks out of bounds. Well, wait a minute. That was off Century, wasn't it? Century gained. Yeah, I was going to say. Faribault should have. No, Century got possession. Well, I don't understand that. Here comes Faribault. Again, left to right on your radio dial. Huerta Mata's trying to kick it ahead to Ross. Is trying to beat the Century Panther. The ball was unable to do so. Century brings the ball back up the field. That is Nora Will. Pass goes ahead to Maria Hansen. And they're going to be another offside here called on Century with 21:59 to go. Getting a little antsy. They had all those breakaways earlier. 5-0. Century leads it. They scored all 5 of their goals in the first 3 minutes of the game. And since then, they have, I guess, taken their foot off the gas, so to speak, for the most part. The ball's kicked out of bounds there. And they'll have a whole new crew come in for Rochester Century. the first team, I guess you could call it, who scored the 5 goals. Century does look to have some speed. And they beat Owatonna on Tuesday by a score of 2-1. I'll give you the standings coming into tonight, maybe at halftime, where we visit with our special guest as well. Faribault inbound it. It's booted ahead. Rochester Century gains control off the far sideline. Nice steal almost there by the Faribault Falcons. As it was Michelle Figueroa who nearly got the steal. Century tried to pass it ahead. It's intercepted, and Faribault will boot it back into the zone. Huerta Mata tries to kick it ahead to Ross, but she's being double-teamed coming up the field, and the goalkeeper comes out. The pass comes ahead, or I should say the kick ahead by Century. Trying to gain control of the Panthers. Meanwhile, Hunt is like a little gnat around the Century player. That was Jordan Nowicki who scored one of the goals. Ross gains control. It's intercepted. Booted back. Hunt gets it. Now passes it to her left over to Regan Vogelsberg. Huerta Mata kicks it from way out, and it's caught by the goalkeeper. It was probably from 25 yards out, something like that. Under 20 minutes to go. Boot ahead by the goalkeeper. It's on the far sideline, right by the official, so he should call this one accurately. Knocked out of bounds, and Century will gain and inbound it. Pass ahead. Mel Falcon looked like they were going to get it and don't, and now Century Panthers dribbling ahead and kicking wide of the goal. Well, she was pretty strong. Went through a few people. Melanie Ledoux must be, I'm guessing, the daughter of the coaches. Now booting it out of the goal area is the Falcon sophomore, Daisy Cruz Grande. Botke tried to kick it ahead. It's intercepted. Ledoux goes toward the net again. Toward the center of the field. And a nice interception there by Sydney Bauer. Pass comes in. I know Bauer's had a few concussions. And that was last year during the basketball season. There was an inadvertent trip, but I think they're going to call it, aren't they? Maybe there is no such thing as an inadvertent trip in soccer. We have a kick from the side here. Free kick for the Century Panthers. Rebel will set up a wall over there in front of her. Try and negate this. Goalkeeper is still shielding the sun from her eyes. As kicking is going to be Addie Spaeth. Oh no, they get a little trickery here. The third person is going to pass it ahead. Booted forward by the Faribault Falcons. And it goes out of bounds. Faribault should inbound this very quickly. So you can get up the field. Well, they're going to make a substitution, I guess. Inbounding it for Faribault is going to be Alexis Garcia. If I read her number right. Coming all the way across the field, Emma Taboda. Ball's booted forward by Faribault. Again, Huerta Mata trying to get in front of the pack, unable to get control of the ball. Also trying to gain control there with Sydney Bauer. It's kicked ahead. Century on a breakaway again. Here comes the kick, and it goes over the net. She didn't come out of the net that time, but still a little too excited. Unable to connect that time was Riley Langer, a senior midfielder for the Century Panthers, as Cruz Grande will kick it out toward the sideline. It's intercepted by Century. Going to come back into the scoring box area. It's going to go out of bounds on the near sideline. Quickly, the ball comes in from Century in that box area. To the right of the goaltender, still shielding the sun from her eyes. It can't be too much longer, and that sun will be gone. Kick ahead by Faribault. They might have something going here. Ross is going to kick it forward, try and kick it toward her left to Huerta. And again, she's double-teamed coming up the center of the field. Errantly, the ball goes behind her. She's on to get it. Nice job by Century to track it down. And now we're going to have, was that an offside? 15:50 to go.
All right, let's go, Faribault.
Faribault will have the ball. And we'll kick toward the box. It's knocked away by Rochester Century. Ball goes past midfield. Giving chase is Ledoux. She's out in front of the entire pack. 4 Falcons chasing her. Coming out. Nice save. Another great save by Cruz Grande. That was awesome. And here comes the kick, and Grande catches it. What a great 3 saves in a row by Cruz Grande. She's definitely going to be our defender of the game at this point. Wow. That was amazing. That's going to make the highlight reel on FCTV, I'll tell you that. 15:05 to go. That was phenomenal. You could send that one in and might even make ESPN. We have it out of bounds here on Century on the far sideline. Wish I could see that sideline better. 14:48 to go. Faribault's going to make some substitutions here. Botke's going to come out. Hunt's going to come out. Checking in for the Faribault Falcons is Alexis. Oh, I'm sorry. Meredith Umbright came out. Botke's coming in. Also coming in is Sydney Beaupre, senior defense person. So Century will inbound it. Throws it right to the shoulder of her teammate. And now it's going to go out of bounds again. Century will inbound it again. Far side. Pass comes in. Not real accurate. Was almost picked off. Now the Falcons trying to gain control. It's booted forward by Bauer. Century gains control. Kicks it toward midfield. The midfield circle. It's booted forward. Almost picked up there by Botke. Now Century will get it toward midfield. Pass up the sideline, and she couldn't gain control of the ball. Now kicks it ahead and is going to outrace the Falcon defender for it. Coming up, dribbling that ball up, kicking it forward, trying to get it to the center. A nice cutoff there by Bergen Williamson. On the far side, it's going to go out of bounds, as Alexis Botke was battling for it with one of the Century Panthers. They will inbound it on the far sideline. That's McKenna Baker, who scored one of their 5 goals. They scored all 5 of them in the first 3 minutes. They have not scored since. 13 minutes to go first half. From the side, here's a kick toward the middle, and it's kicked through the goalpost again by the Century Panthers. Man, that was a point-blank opportunity there that did not come through. Addie Spaeth was the one who was kicking it. And now Daisy Cruz Grande has made some phenomenal saves in this first half. Doesn't really get to boot it out very far. Century ends up with it again quickly on the attack. Pass intercepted there by Faribault. The near sideline, it's booted out of bounds. So Century will gain control again. And their scoring end. Pass comes in, the bounce. Some Faribault Falcons are in the neighborhood. Gaining control is Kristen Ledoux. Yep, the Ledoux twins. One's a midfielder, one's a defender. Both are juniors. Pass goes ahead. And I seem to recall them being pretty good hockey players, too. So Faribault has control of the ball with 11:45 to go. They will kick it toward the other end. Unfortunately, it's not right toward a Falcon. Century ends up with it. Now it's kicked ahead. Ross has it for Faribault. Almost had it taken away, then she got it back. It's hit toward midfield. Now the boot ahead again, out of the pack. Racing toward the net is Rochester Century. There's the shot, and again, it's over, and she is upset as she kicked it through the goalpost again. She's got to be tired, man. There's another breakaway for Riley Langer. She was so frustrated, she pounded the turf after missing that one. Faribault Falcons, Rochester Century Panthers, Big Nine Conference Girls Soccer here from Bruce Smith Field. It's the home opener for the Falcons. And unfortunately, almost like they weren't ready to start. 5 goals were scored in the first 3 minutes of this game. And since then, it's been 0-0. Faribault has not had many scoring opportunities at all. I might have to see a chiropractor after this game. My neck permanently tilted to one side. As Century from the side will head, again kick it toward the box. Racing to it is Century. There's a pass, and it's knocked out of bounds by Faribault just to get it out of there. But back on the attack, it's going to be Century as they inbound it. A pass to the inbounder. It's hit toward midfield. Now intercepted by Faribault. Oh, a mishit. Century's going to pass it. There's the kick, and it's intercepted. Nice job there defensively by Faribault's Sauer. One of the Panthers ends up on her derriere as it's booted out ahead. Faribault trying to get toward the other end of the field, moving left to right in your radio dial. No sun for Cruz Grande now. As it comes toward her, she's able to pick it up. And she'll kick it ahead. Got a little more on this one. It's going to roll toward midfield, picked up by Rochester Century, nearly at the midfield circle. Ahead of the pack is a Faribault Falcon. That's Skylar Bertram. And then coming out of net to come up with it, he is the goalkeeper, Kopp, for Century. It looked like they had something going there. As the Century Panthers, moving right to left, will bring that ball up. Dribbling and then passing, the Rochester Century Panthers. They boot it in to the other end. Century out races the Falcons to the ball. Here comes another kick, and oh my, it hit the side bar. It almost went in off the goaltender. Cruz Grande hit the side of the goal. She's going to kick it out again. Takes one bounce. It's knocked down by Nowicki. Nowicki, who scored one of the goals for Century in the first half. Kicked ahead in the Century. Here's another pass ahead, and beating everybody to the ball is the Century, and another goal is going to be scored here by Clary. 8:22 to go. So 8:22 to go. Clary gets her second goal. That was a long time between goals, right? 8 minutes and 5 seconds to go at the moment. It's a 6-0 score. As at midfield with the ball is Faribault's Huerta Mata, just a junior. Well, she's been playing a lot of hoops, it seems like, ever since her 7th grade year. And here comes the kick ahead, and Century outrunning everybody to the ball again. Faribault does a nice job to get back, though, and interfere with that so that they can't score right away. Can't fault the effort by any stretch. 7:26 to go, 6-0 Rochester Century. Faribault booted out of their zone here. It comes to about 30 yards out. Kicked ahead by Mata, tries to get it to Ross. Ross trying to outrace all the Century Panthers for a change and tried to pass it to a teammate, couldn't get enough on it. Pass comes ahead, where the Mata intercepts. Great dribbling there, got by the defenders. It's kicked ahead. Faribault just couldn't get the angle on the ball to take the shot. And a really good defense play there by Kristen Ledoux. Get back and kind of cut off the angle. Passing it in will be Faribault's Alexis Botke. Huerta Mata. It's intercepted by Century. They're in the box now, and it's knocked out of bounds. by the Century Panthers. Some substitutions coming in for Faribault here. Boda comes back. And sitting down for Faribault is going to be Alexis Garcia. Meanwhile, Faribault will inbound the ball as Sidney Beaupre inbounds it. Gets knocked back and out of bounds. Beaupre will inbound it again from the far corner, almost exactly to the side of the net. Passes it in. I thought she overshot the target. I didn't see where to Mata back there, though. I think that's who she actually intended to pass it to. It's going to go out of bounds behind the goal. So Century will gain the ball, and the goalkeeper Kopp will boot it out of there. She runs to the other side of the field. Sets it down, and she'll give it a big whap. One hopper's picked off by Faribault. They tried to pass it back. It's going to go out of bounds, go to Century. Well, I guess not. Faribault went inbounded. Now a header by Century is going to go out of bounds. And getting to inbound it again is Emma Taboda. Rochester Century's Maggie Moran has it. Up the far sideline. It's going to go out of bounds again. The official right now is saying, put the ball in the middle of the field. 4 minutes and 55 seconds to go. As Century again kicks it ahead, trying to outrace the Falcons to the ball. They've had a few of these. Nice interception there by Faribault to get back. Good job by Najira Solis. And we'll have a little stoppage here, and the Falcons will gather themselves and try to see if they can't score before the end of the first half. 4:26 to go. It is 6-0 Rochester Century. 5 goals in the first 3 minutes of the game. As Faribault and Century are battling for that soccer ball. Pass ahead. Coming out of the pack with it is Nora Will. Will's going to pass it to the center. It's kicked just to the side of the goal. And again, smart move by Daisy Cruz Grande to challenge her coming in. She was pretty close. Had she not challenged her, she would have that whole net, right? So good decision there by the sophomore goalkeeper, who's made some phenomenal saves. She had one stretch where she made 3 saves in a row. Kick toward the goal, coming flying out of there is Cruz Grande. For years, Olivia Williamson was the goalkeeper here for the Falcons, and of course, outstanding hockey player, but she was a taller girl than Cruz Grande is. Well, the Falcons just took a tumble, but Century's out in front of all the Falcons, and they got 3 people to choose. Oh, another great save by Daisy Cruz Grande. She had 2 girls to her left, and the Panthers decided to shoot it. Had she passed it, it certainly would have been a goal, but a great save by Daisy Cruz Grande, because she did shoot it with Grande right in front of her, and she stuffed it. 2:43 to go here in the first half. Pass comes in by Rochester Century to Ledoux. Ledoux trying to get ahead of the Falcon, who cuts in front and makes the steal in the far corner. And that was Williamson. Bergen gets to wear the same number in soccer that she does in hockey, if I remember right. Century again, trying to get on the attack. It's booted out of there by the Falcons and out of bounds and onto the track. We had a good crowd here from Rochester Century tonight. Faribault Falcons and the Rochester Century Panthers. I did not look at my watch to see if we started right at 7 o'clock. Minute 49 to go here in the first half. Trying to gain control are the Falcons. Skylar Bertram had it for an instant. Now it's booted back toward the Faribault goal. Coming out that time, and she's going to have an easy goal this time as she tries to aim it right in. Trying to get back was a Falcon to make the save because Daisy Cruz Grande had come out of the net. And unfortunately, for a second there, I thought maybe she was hurt, but she's okay. Solis did a nice job to try and get back and save, but that's the 7th goal of the game for the Rochester Century Panthers. They beat Owatonna 2-1 earlier this week. Owatonna's usually pretty good in girls soccer. There's another pass intercepted. And when Cruz Grande got, when she fell down, it was easy pickings for Century. Give Solis a lot of credit for getting on her horse and trying to make the save for her teammate. You could easily just let it go, right? When you're down 6-0. Cruz Grande comes out of the net and kicks it out of bounds. I think she was trying to kick it to one of her teammates, Tabota, but it went out of bounds. Century will inbound it. Pass it ahead. The left-handed pass toward the middle of the field. Getting away from the defender, kicking it ahead is Century. I think they were going to try and center, pass it toward the center. They got booted out of bounds by Williamson. That's the end of the first half. The score is going to be 7-0. I told you we were going to have a special guest at halftime. Peyton Ross joins us, Faribault Falcon. This is your senior year, Peyton?
Yes, it is.
Are you pretty excited?
I am excited, yes.
Even though it's going to be a little different to start anyway, right?
Everything will be a little different, but we got to think outside the box. So
you're starting in the hybrid?
I am, yes.
Here in Faribault High School.
Yep.
Maybe you could explain to our listeners what that means.
Yeah, so I will go to school for a couple hours that I'm taking classes at the school with teachers, and then the rest of them I will be online for the week. So I will go Thursdays and Fridays for my days.
Which is better than what you ended last school year with, right?
All online, yeah. So this will be nice to get some social interaction.
And volleyball, normally you'd be practicing now and getting ready for games.
Yeah, we would probably have a couple games in by now. So that's a bummer, but I'm hopeful for this spring, and I think that we will use this time as practice and come out stronger in the spring. So
the fact that JOs and the high school season are going to be at the same time, is that going to take some of your better players away?
I'm not sure right now, but it's a possibility. So I'm not sure what will happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you have to make a choice, what do you pick?
I would play with the school. Yep.
Not JOs?
No.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my own opinion.
Yeah.
Right? But I can see why a girl would go that other route, too, because most of your scouts are at the JOs.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's what's hard right now, too, if you're going to go to college to play volleyball. It'll be a little later decision for you. So they can't come watch you this fall. They'll be there this spring. So
now, let's see if you can correct me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah.
You were at the governor's meeting last October, right?
I was, yes.
I seem to recall that.
Yeah.
You guys did a great job.
Well, thank you.
And I have to be honest, it was mostly administrators and then a couple of students.
Yes.
And the governor seemed to be more engaging with you students than the
Yes.
administrators, and I like to see that.
Yep. He really wanted to see and hear from us as students, and so that was really nice that he was connecting with us. So.
And it sounds like they listened, right? They're trying to get the flavored cigarettes out.
Right. Yep. Yeah. They were great to have and to talk with. So.
Now your sister is out here playing.
She is.
So does she educate you a little bit about the sport of soccer?
A little bit, and my dad, being one of the assistant coaches. So they like to bring it home and talk to us about it. So.
So can you give me analysis of the first half? Because I know nothing about soccer.
Well, I'm going to say that it's a new atmosphere for them. I think that they are still trying to find themselves, and as a team, I know that they kind of had to mix together their JV from last year and their varsity from this year, so they've got a lot to work with. So I don't know. I think they will figure it out, and it's just the beginning of the season. So
Did you go to Austin?
I did not, no.
Because I was told, played an excellent first half down in Austin.
They did. Yeah.
They're up 2-0, and we're beaten 3-2.
Yeah. So, but they're young. I believe in them. They got it.
I got a chance to talk to your coach numerous times this past summer when at Faribault Laker games. You know, her husband pitches there for the Lakers, and she was really looking forward to this year.
Yeah, I am too. It'll be it'll be a new experience, but I'm really excited about it. So
you guys have the potential.
Yeah.
If all the pieces to the puzzle are there.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this fall we take advantage of every little thing and we can get it all put back together for the spring, and I think that we will come out really good this year.
Yeah.
So
obviously Northfield is going to be very good again.
yes, yep, they will be. They will have to switch a few things around, but they'll be good.
But you're not worried. I can tell you're not worried about Northfield.
I'm not.
You think you are going to have a good season?
I think we will, yeah.
It's going to feel weird, though, in the spring, isn't it?
Yeah, that'll be a little different, but at least we get a season. That's all I'm thankful for.
Yeah, and they did cut back on the number of matches or games.
Yep, they did. Yeah.
You're going to keep it to solely conference action?
Yep, yeah, so we probably won't be able to go into any of our tournaments that we usually do, which will be a bummer, but we'll embrace it.
You like those tournaments, really?
Yeah. We'd start off with about 2 or 3 right in the beginning of the season, and we usually try and beat our record from the year before, and it's competitive in that nature too. So
Peyton, what are some of the other things you do in school other than,
I'm in basketball and golf, along with National Honor Society and Student Council, Link Crew, and I'm also the senior class president this year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The Donald Trump of Faribault High School.
I keep busy, that's for sure.
You certainly do.
Yes.
Where do you want this to take you? What are you going to do after high school?
Well, I'm looking into psychology as a major, so I really like working with people, so communication and that. I think these roles will definitely help me, so.
Yeah, well, you do a good job at it.
Yeah.
You really do. I could tell that when the governor was here, he was impressed as well.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe you'll be a communicator in his office while you're going to college.
Who knows? Yes.
Have you picked a school yet?
I have not. I have a couple in mind, all private schools, but.
All here in the Midwest?
Yes. Yep. I have Gustavus, Luther, Hamlin, so we will see.
Well, I think you're probably going to be very successful.
Well, thank you.
I really do. Thanks, Peyton, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Here at halftime. It was a pleasure. Peyton Ross joining us at halftime. East to west, and Faribault will be heading toward the east goal here in the second half. As immediately off the kickoff, the ball goes out of bounds. Century will gain control and pass it in left to right in your radio dial. Tossing it in is Lauren Murphy. Ball's almost intercepted there by Faribault's Figueroa. Now Huerta tried to get it to her teammate Ross. It's picked off there by Rochester Century. Booted ahead by Faribault toward the Century goalkeeper. Tracking it down is Murphy, and she'll boot it out of bounds. Falcons will race in to inbound it. Pass comes in. It's headed by Rochester Century. Back out of bounds. Passing it in again for Faribault is going to be Sydney Beaupre. Almost intercepted. They get it to Huerta Mata. Trying to get it to her again is Faribault. Now Century tries to come out of the pack with it. Trying to run interference there. Doing a nice job was Solis. And the kick goes wide of the net. Kopp, the goalkeeper, will set it down and boot it out of the Century zone here. He's going to be kicked out of bounds again. Faribault has control of it. Pass it in. It's intercepted and kicked out of bounds again. Passed in by Faribault. Century ends up with it. About 5 girls right in the vicinity of the ball trying to gain control of it. It's booted toward the goal by Faribault, but not successful was Huerta Mata with that left-footed boot. Here's another kick. Boy, like a defensive backpedaling was Kopp that time. Made a nice catch. That's not as easy as it probably looked. Kick comes out. Both the Falcon and Century Panther looked like they were going to try and head the ball, and they weren't able to do it. Now inbounding will be Century. Intercepted by Faribault. Nice job there by the Falcons' Michelle Figueroa. Booted ahead. Now intercepted by Century. At midfield is the ball. And here comes another breakaway. Coming up. Stopping with the ball because offside is called. So Faribault will kick it from the right half to the left half. Ends up at midfield. Booted ahead there by Bauer. Goes back to midfield. Picking it off with Sauer. Century gaining control. It's deflected by Huerta Mata. Faribault again trying to gain control. And I think they're doing a much better job here this half. As I say that, they almost come out with a breakaway to Century, but a nice job of shutting that off by Sauer. It's booted ahead. Century gets ahead of the pack, and again, we have an offside. Faribault's going, why did they call that in all those breakaways in the first 3 minutes? 36-23 to go here in the second half. It's 7-0 Rochester Century. As kicking it for the right half to the left half. The Falcons, Century trying to gain control, is going to go off of the Panther and out of bounds. Upset with herself that time was Riley Langer. Pass comes in by Faribault's Meredith Umbright. Then we got another stoppage here. Was that offside again? I missed it. There was an infraction, so Century's going to inbound it. Or not inbound it, but they're going to kick it up the field from about the 30-yard marker. Left to right. It's going to outshoot everybody. Boy, that young lady can kick. Century's going to out. Oh, my. It hit the top of the goal and went over it. My, oh, my. That young lady can really kick. And racing forward again was Clary, who has 2 goals. She wants a hat trick. I'm assuming you call that in soccer a hat trick, too, when you get 3 goals. That's what you call it in hockey. Kick ahead by the Faribault Falcons. It's knocked down by Century. Booted forward again. There's Clary again. Clary's in the open. She's going to get as close as she can, kick it, and hit it wide of the net. She goes, how could I do that? You can tell by her reaction. She put her hands out like, how could I miss that? Well, as Mr. Meyer said the other day, it's not as easy as it looks. So the Rochester Century Panthers. The ball's in their end. As Faribault Falcons going right to left. Racing up the far sideline, dribbling the ball was the Falcon. It's intercepted and sent back the other way, and it just hugs that sideline. I guess it never did go out of bounds. Century's going to outrace the Falcon to the ball. And another nice save there by Daisy Cruz Grande. Cut off the angle. She tried to shoot it from the side. That's going to be a hard angle to hit. Grande has a nice kick here to midfield. It's knocked down by Century. Passed forward to Addie Spaeth. Spaeth's got a goal in this game. And here comes Century again on the attack. The shot is going to hit the side of the net. Tried to angle it in there and hit the side of the net. Get a little too rambunctious there for a second was Cruz Grande. They said, no, wait till everybody clears before you kick it. They're going to make some changes here. The Faribault Falcons. It's back in the game is Bergen Williamson and Emma Taboda. Checking out is Solis. I can't catch the number of the other one. Yeah, now I can see it. It's Meredith Umbright. Where's my old baseball number 13 on the back of her uniform? She is not superstitious, and neither was I. Obviously, because I wore the number. Kick ahead. Rochester Century and Faribault trying to gain control right there at midfield. Lots of action with the ball. It's nice pass ahead there by Huerta Mata, and now it goes out of bounds. The ball does. Get these balls in a hurry. Pass comes into Rochester Century, but it's intercepted by Faribault and then kicked out of bounds again. Have we got an update on the boys? They were playing down at Rochester Century tonight. The boys are. As the Faribault Falcons again see Century go on the attack here. The ball is just outside the box there. Rochester Century now kick from outside there. Easily able to grab that as Daisy Cruz Grande with back-to-back-to-back outstanding saves in a sequence in the first half. Way ahead of the pack that time was Huerta Mata, but she's going to end up falling on the ball or tripping herself on the ball as Century's going to come back the other way. It's chipped ahead to a teammate. It was a nice pass on the fly, no less. And now pass by Clary. You get it back in front, going toward the net, and a goal. Huh? It was offside? So offside is Century. 31-22. Faribault will kick it out of their zone. And they get it to Huerta Mata. She gets knocked down. That should be an infraction, I would think. And it is. They don't get a free kick, huh? Pass comes ahead. Rochester Century trying to break it out of the Falcon end. As Huerta Mata. We got a offside here. A tripping call. So they'll just kick it left to right in your radio dial of the Rochester Century Panthers, up by a 7-0 score. They led 5-0 at halftime. They led 6-0 at halftime. They led 5-0 in 3 minutes into the game. There's another pass intercepted. Nice header there by Faribault. It was Bergen Williamson who had the header. Now it's booted forward by Rochester Century, moving left to right. Trying to get on a breakaway here. Williamson gets back nicely. She got kind of shoved aside there. Pass comes ahead. Century coming into that end of the field now. Oh, a nice job of boxing out the defender that time by Huerta Mata. Excuse me. She looked like she was playing basketball there, boxing her out. Now coming back forward is Century, left to right. On the attack. Nice pass ahead, but a little too far ahead. Picked off by Faribault. Almost handed it over to Panther there in a really good scoring opportunity. And now that was a downright tackle that will be called, but Faribault will be booting it out of their zone. Faribault still has yet to score in this game. They scored 2 goals Tuesday night against Austin on the road. They're here at home. It's their season opener, and they're playing at Bruce Smith Field. Normally play at Ball Field, the soccer complex. You're in tune to KDHL AM, Faribault, Minnesota. What a beautiful night. These ladies got to love this weather as the ball almost got out of bounds. Nice job of saving it, though, that time by Tabota to keep it in bounds. Kick ahead is knocked down off the legs of the Century Panther. Still trying to gain control and being knocked down is the Faribault Falcon, Michelle Figuera. And they'll get a kick here from, probably about 30, 25 yards out, something like that. It'll be Huerta Mata. Where's that lucky number 7 on the back of her uniform? Kicks it right into the box. Unfortunately, no Falcons can beat any Panthers to it. And the ball goes out of bounds. Behind the goal. So we're going to have a kick from the corner here for the Faribault Falcons. Inbounding it is going to be Figuera. Got a couple of Falcons farther out of the box, one right at the corner post. And the kick goes to the side of the net. Coming back onto the field for the Faribault Falcons is Meredith Umbright. Checking out for Faribault is going to be Sydney Beaupre. And the kick from Kopp, Century goalkeeper. Intercepted almost by Faribault. Now Century gets it back and boots it about halfway up the field. Williamson goes back to gather it. Kicks it ahead. Panther ends up with it. That was almost stolen there. Good aggressive move by Skylar Bertram, the freshman midfielder for Faribault. Kicks it all the way down the field as Rochester Century. They're on that breakaway again, and it's going to trickle into the net. 8-0 is our score. 26-26. 8-0 is the score. Rochester Century scoring. Ball at midfield. As it was Clary who scored her hat trick. She wanted the hat trick, you know she did. I mean, how often do you get that opportunity in soccer? I'm guessing pretty rare. I would say very rare. Speaking of rare, Century's got a whole new crew in there again. And it's going to be kicked out of bounds, belong to Faribault. They're going to inbound it as Taboto will toss it in. Also on the field for Faribault is Alexis Botke. Coming off is Regan Vogelsberg. Getting a little instruction from her coach. Nobody has control of the moment. Where Amata made a nice spin move there to get away from the defender, pass ahead to a teammate. There's a lot of bumping going on, going for the ball up the field, and the ball's going to go out of bounds, and they're going to make me stand up and look in the corner. 25 minutes to go in this game. 8-0. Here's a kick by Huerta Mata, but it was too far out, couldn't get much on it. Kopp just rolls it ahead to her teammate. She was going to boot it and decides to roll it. And now it's kicked ahead by Century, and it's going to go out of bounds. Faribault will inbound it. They'll toss it into Mata Huerta, but it's intercepted and headed, but a Falcon ends up with it. Now Rochester Century nearly at the midfield circle. It's going to be kicked up the field. About 3/4 of the way. Kick off to the left side and sent down the far sideline. Trying to center the pass here is Century. A nice job of Faribault cutting that off. They nearly got the steal, now do. As Century sees Falcons come back up right to left on your radio dial. And they steal the ball from Mata Huerta. Or Huerta Mata, I should say. And now Faribault Falcons trying to gain control again. Kick ahead. Gordon's back on the field for Century. Very active young lady as Faribault inbounded right at midfield. Tossing it in is going to be Sydney Beaupre. Century's got a snowman on the scoreboard. It's 8-0 with about 23.5 minutes to go. We got a couple of more girls and a couple of more boys soccer games for Faribault here this fall. We're going to do something I think unique. We're going to try and cover both a boys and a girls cross country meet. Going to do a girls swimming and diving meet. They're doing them virtual this year. So that should be interesting. And a girls tennis match. And here's another goal scored by the Rochester Century Panthers. I think that one was scored by Nowicki, her second.
Score a goal by Jordan Nowicki.
Yep, Nowicki scores her second goal. Actually, I missed one goal, so it even might be a hat trick. I missed one at about the fourth goal or something like that. Some young ladies and some crowd people are putting their coats on. It's chilly out here tonight. Perfect, though, for soccer running up and down the field. I don't think those ladies are chilly. Constantly in motion. As Century, again, will knock it out of bounds. I think that was Langer. Faribault will inbound it. It's tossed in. No, that was not Langer. I'm sorry. It was Brooke Hedin. A Century again trying to break out in front of the pack. That was out of bounds, wasn't it? Yes. Offside. Going to be called. So the Faribault Falcons will bring it back up, and I guess what we want to find out here is can they score? They're down 9-0. Kick is knocked down again. Goes about 4 feet away from the young lady after it's passed in and knocked off of her, trying to knock it down, with the body. Here comes the pass again. It's headed by Century, intercepted back by Faribault. Trying to kick it ahead. Now Gordon cuts in front, makes the steal. He's trying to go forward. Nice job to keep her away. A little box out there by Sauer. Now Faribault inbounded again as the ball went out of bounds. It's passed in on the near sideline. Trying to curl toward the field was a Falcon. It was picked off, and here comes Rochester Century again. Getting back nicely. Williamson to cut her off, but they get out in front of the pack again. Williamson tries to save it again. It's going to go. Did that go in? 20 minutes, 37 seconds to go. It almost looked like it went in from here, but I guess it went over the goal and on the back of the net. There's a lot of geese flying over this place, as always. And we all know what geese like to do. 20 minutes and 10 seconds to go in this game. Faribault Falcons have 6 seniors on their team. So do the Rochester Century Panthers. And there is, with 14:58 to go. It's now 10-0. So at this point, Faribault Falcons still trying to get their first goal of this game. They were defeated 3-2 by Austin on Tuesday, as they played very well in the first half, we were told. Up 2-0, and ended up losing 3-2. Williamson trying to track down the ball, moving right to left. Pass goes to her right, and it nearly goes out of bounds. It's passed ahead, as 2 Falcons and 1 Panther are battling for it. Now it's kicked ahead, knocked down by Faribault. Trying to bring it back up the field, right to left on your radio dial. Ball's at midfield circle, and it's picked up by Century. Nice job of dribbling there to get by the Falcon. A pass ahead. And again, passing it forward and just out racing the Falcon to the ball. Falcon trying to cut her off, doing a nice job of that right there. Was Faribault's Sauer, Caroline Sauer. As Faribault just having a heck of a time breaking it out of their zone. First part of this half, they had a pretty good offensive series pass, and now it's over the net on the shot by the Rochester Century Panthers. We got another substitution coming in here. A couple of them for Faribault. Checking in is Italy Garcia. Hope I said that right. Our Faribault Coaches Show, by the way, begins next Saturday out of Bashers. Once again, G&H Properties and Royal Ross will be co-hosting with yours truly. I'm sure we'll be on the deck next Saturday. And I'm hoping that we can get some of these players out here. You know, typically they play on Saturdays, but not this year because it's all conference stuff. There's no non-conference games. So we should be able to get a soccer player or two maybe out there. And, girls swimming and diving, they usually practice on Saturdays. It's been the reason why we haven't had them most years. And I always say, you could take 10 minutes. Maybe have the practice at a different time. Pass comes ahead. Rochester Century trying to gain control of the Faribault Falcons, and nobody really has control of it, just going back and forth at the moment. Faribault will inbound up from the far side at midfield. Passed in at the feet of the Falcon, who tried to go on the move at the same time. It's booted back. Now Century gaining control of the ball. Nice pass ahead. And then a miss, a whiff by a Falcon, and now the Panthers going to get by her and go in for a score to make it 11-0. 16:37 to go. It's 11-0. Well, I guess everybody wants to score, right? Can't tell them not to try to score. 16:14 to go. Pass in midfield out of bounds, Faribault. Century will pass it in. Trying to gain control that time was Penelope Gordon. Well, she's really an active young lady. Gordon is a midfielder, a junior. We got another substitution here for Faribault. I'll try and get it for you in a moment. Pass goes ahead. They have not had too many breakaway opportunities like Century has in this game. The Falcons do gain control for an instant, get it back, but really not much pressure at all put on Kopp, the goalkeeper for the Century Panthers. As Faribault gains control, pass goes across the field. Now it's picked up by Williamson, passes to her teammate. See if they can get a big boot here somewhere to get it on the other end. Ball's right at midfield. Out toward the Falcon goal. As the Century Panthers pass it ahead, it's toward the midfield circle, where Huerta Mata intercepted. Now it's kicked ahead a little farther, but out of bounds. Just weren't able to get it accurately to the intended target that time, who was Skylar Bertram. Skylar is a freshman midfielder. Pass comes in. It is picked up there by Rochester Century's Regan Ilg. Ball's at midfield. Trying to track it down. Get it as Faribault. They got about 3 girls going after it with a Century Panther as well. Now Faribault gains control for an instant. Pass ahead. Ball's knocked down by Century. They're going to track down the ball and try and bring it back up the field. As Gordon has it. Right on her back that time for the Faribault Falcons was Sydney Beaupre. Pass comes ahead. And we've got offside again. Pass came ahead to Mercedes Huerta Mata. Boy, it's hard to believe she's only a junior. 13:25 to go. It's 11-0 Century. You know something? Not many fans have left, if any. They're all still here. It's such a beautiful night. Why would you want to go home? There's no Twins game. They're off tonight. So you sit out in the beautiful outdoors. And, just watch the girls go up and down and play soccer. You're hoping that the Falcons can score here in their home field, their home opener. They come up the near sideline with the ball. And then Panther ends up with it. That time trying to bring it up was Vigora. Pass will come in by Century's Hadeen. She got it knocked back toward her, kicks it to midfield. The official kind of doing a little pirouette, got in the way as the ball gets kicked. Coming out of the box to track it down is Cruz Grande. She is going to be, by the way, our Malika's auto body defender of this game. And some people are going to go, how can you call a goalkeeper a defender of the game when they get, the score now is 11-0. Well, she had some incredible saves. Didn't get a whole lot of help, you know what I'm saying? And when you got a lot of people coming at you free rein, it's got to be hard when you're back there in that goal. As Century's going to kick it ahead. Gordon's going to give chase. Cutting it off is Faribault, and it's going to, I guess it didn't quite make it out of bounds. Trying to turn up the field that time. Fagora couldn't do it. Gordon has it. Gordon does a little back pass to herself. Kicks it ahead. Perfectly placed ball, and it's an offside. So Faribault gain control here with 11:25 to go. Only thing that remains to be seen here is if Faribault can score. Pass ahead to Huerta Mata. Gets punched back on the Faribault goal. And there's another inadvertent trip. Ball's going to go out of bounds. Ten minutes, 53 seconds to go. 11-0 is our score. So Century's going to kick it from the side here. And it's caught by Cruz Grande. She kicks it ahead. Had she continued running, that would have been a perfect pass on the kick. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. It's going to be knocked out of bounds, belong to the Faribault Falcons, as the one ball goes rolling across the track. And I don't know about you, but I don't think I want to be a ball person in these games. They run their tails off. 10 minutes and 10 seconds to go. I mean, that young lady's running across the track to get that ball. And, of course, she's got to get the ball in quickly to whoever's passing it in. Talk about having to be in shape. Pass comes in. It's a nice header there by Century. Goes right by one of the Falcons, just whizzed right by her head. The pass ahead. It's intercepted by Faribault. Comes back the other way. Just booting it back and forth. And now trying to get into attack zone. They're unable to get there. Faribault Falcons had it for an instant. The ball's at midfield, and we got another stoppage here. Another offside. So Faribault will kick it out of the zone and try to get to the other end of the field. They try to get it to Huerta Mata. Century ends up with control of it. Almost hits the official in the head at midfield. They try to stay out of the way. They do a pretty good job of that. Faribault's going to punch it ahead. Huerta Mata almost had control. You can tell Century's paying a lot of attention to her. The ball's going to go out of bounds. Inbounding it will be Faribault. And Faribault's going to make a substitution here as Solis checks back in. The bounce pass comes in. Kind of ping-pong action with the ball. About 4 pairs of legs. Rochester Century at midfield. Williamson had it for an instant. Just couldn't get anything on the kick to her teammate. And it's intercepted. Now it's picked up by Faribault's Garcia. They're at midfield. And the ball's going to go out of bounds. And Faribault inbounded. Be Garcia inbounding it. Gets it to midfield. It gets volleyballed out of bounds. And Faribault inbounded again. Tried to pass it forward. Just not able to break free here. The Falcons pass comes up ahead. Rochester Century dribbling the ball. 7:44 to go with an 11-0 lead. They'll kick it ahead. And able to gain control is the Panther right at midfield. and head on her back, Emma Taboda. Little side kick at midfield. It's kicked ahead now. Giving chase is going to be Langer. Langer's going to kick it, and it goes into the net. 7-17. It's 12-0. Langer scores.
Goal by number 5, Riley Langer.
She was so frustrated. Remember in the first half, that young lady got really point blank and just kicked a couple of them through the goalposts. That time she settled herself down and made a nice shot. She was so frustrated in the first half, pounding the turf. 12-0 is our score. Rochester Century flexing some muscles here. Where DeMarta tries to get it ahead, and now it comes back into the other end of the field. It's going to be booted out of bounds by Faribault. Century will gain control. Inbounding it is going to be Baker. She scored in this game. So Century's going to go to 2-0 on the season. Never did share with you the standings, did I, at halftime? I was so engrossed in visiting with Miss Ross. She did a great job. Student council president. Man, I don't know how she has time to be a kid. 3 different sports. National Honor Society. The student council. Whereas the Falcons almost had an attack on offense that time. And now they get the ball back as Huerta Mata tries to get it back up the field. You just can't put together more than 1 or 2 passes. A little fancy dribbling there by Maggie Moran. Tries to get it ahead, and another offside is going to be called on Century. I don't think I brought my calendar with me here to tell you what our next broadcast is going to be in terms of Faribault Falcons soccer. Tomorrow we'll be in Dodge Center to bring you Triton, Kenyon, Wanamingo, Hayfield, and Cannon Falls, and I've been told that should be a really good match. Boys soccer teams, Kenyon, Wanamingo, Triton, and Hayfield are in just their second year in boys. Their first year in girls varsity. They've had soccer for a few years, but of course they don't start right away with a varsity program. So Faribault inbound it. Is almost intercepted, goes out of bounds. Century's coaches, the Ladou's, have to love the effort of their team. They're up by a 12-0 score, and they still cut in front to get that steal because they don't want Faribault to score. Huerta Mata got knocked down, but there was no call there. Faribault will inbound it. On the side. Trying to gain control of Century. They'll kick it out of bounds. Century's got a lot of young ladies back here to defend. Here's a kick. Knocked down by Century. They'll try and get it out of the box there. Kicked forward by Century. Langer kicks it ahead. Gets around the Faribault Falcon. She's going to race up. Dribbles ahead. Keeps going. Falcon giving chase. Coming out is Grande, and that one's going to deflect off of her and go in for the 13th goal. 3:46 to go. Well, I tell you, Langer's going to get a big-time assist on that one. She brought the ball all the way up the field. Didn't get the goal, but her teammate did. As Daisy Cruz Grande tried her darndest. It came out of the net, but was unable to make the save. 13-0. On the near sideline, the Faribault Falcons gaining control. Trying to get their first goal of their home season. Playing at a different venue here at Bruce Smith Field. Normally they play at the Ball Soccer Complex. Outstanding soccer complex that we have here in Faribault. And it was moved here because you can socially distance better here. I was talking to Keith Badger after the game Tuesday night and said, you know, we got to get a press box over at Ball Field. We can do some more of your games over there. See if we can't get that done. Now Century's going to go on a bit of a breakaway here. More than a bit of a one. As she's going to go in and score. Relentlessly went down the field. Gets a big old hug from her teammate. She was bound and determined to score was Andy Romanesco, senior defender. So Romanesco scores. Three 3-0 Century. Boys lead the Falcons. Well, at least it's a close game. Century might be the cream of the crop here in girls in the Big Nine Conference. At least they're showing something here tonight, and they beat Owatonna 2-1 earlier this week. They will go to 2-0 in the league. Faribault will drop to 0-2. I know we've got Faribault's last game of the season against East here. I'm thinking we got their game. The boys, I know we've got Albert Lee. I can't remember if it was the boys or girls we got in Northfield. On the road. We got one girls game on the road, one boys game on the road, 2 boys games at home, 2 girls games at home. The road game is Albert Lee for the boys. Do remember that. So that would mean, and then of course we're, as I said, going to do a tennis match, a girls cross country, a boys cross country, and girls swimming and diving here in the fall. Just doing something a little different. I think it'll be a lot of fun interviewing those kids and their respective sports. Here's a kick ahead again. Looking to the official is, well, they got a starter back in here for Century. Lauren Murphy with under a minute to go in the game. Up 14-0. Here comes a kick ahead. Murphy's trying to outrace the Falcon, trying to get another goal here. She's going to go in and then kicks it to her teammate off to the side. Probably thought better of shooting and scoring. And Century, I think, is going to just run out the clock here. 6 seconds to go. They're just passing it back and running out the clock. I'm sure the coaches might have said, nah, don't score. 14-0 is going to be your final score.